Here is the presentation. As you guys can see, has a look and feel from the SUG-BR. This presentation was presented on SUG-BR as well, and that's why it has this look and feel. I'm excited to announce that the evolution of this presentation will be presented in the next symposium in the day 1 by myself. With more technology, with more artificial intelligence and everything. Okay, thanks for all supporters. Okay, so the Smart Bookshelf, what it is? It's a tool using face recognition to offer personalized book suggestions, book recommendations. This version of the presentation demonstrates how to use rules-based personalization, the one from Sitecore, and nothing fancy. Okay, so let me tell a small story. It is about a company called Books and Cores. It is a fictional company. They are a very successful company, online speaking. They are going very well online, and their marketing team have successfully run several campaigns with Sitecore, including personalization, MV tests, email campaigns, marketing automation, etc. So what I mean is that they are very good in terms of online. Their Sitecore website is pretty good, and however, their physical stores are struggling a little bit. It's still not taking the same attention as their online. So they ask themselves, what can be done to increase the offline engagement? If we have a good online audience already, what can be done to increase the offline engagement and offer experience like personalized experience? And they went through face recognition as the answer to that. Okay, so just a review about this slide. I was talking about the story of this company, Books and Cores, and they are very successful online. They went very well. Their physical stores are still struggling, and then think about how to, use the online success to elevate the physical stores, and they choose face recognition as a tool for that. So we have in the company, they already mapped two kind of frequent visitors here. I'm just bringing two examples, Rodrigo and Eliane. As you know, these two users have different tastes for books. So Eliane likes one thing, Rodrigo likes another thing, and Sitecore is capable to match their preferences based on their navigation. That's already in place. As we know, clicking again, as we know, Sitecore stores all the analytics data on XDB, and that is already in place. So when the company started doing the face recognition, all that was already in place. The users, the tracking of their preference, everything goes to XDB already in place. They even have a component already that shows recommendations. So basically what they want to do is to use this intelligence already in place and integrating with face recognition. How can we do that? Basically, as you can see, the mechanism to gather recommendations are already there, and it shows as this component you can see here. The Smart Bookshelf will use the same analytics data to recommend books in real life. So I will show a little bit how that works for you. Of course, at the website, the user will register at the bookstore by filling out this registration form. The reason why it's so important to have the user register is because, due to um, regulations concerning privacy regulations, they forbid you to use anyhow someone's data without their permission. So we have someone filling a registration form. After the registration, the user will have the chance to upload a selfie, as you can see here, an image of himself, a checkbox. The blue checkbox you see here is what signalizes that the user gives the permission to the picture to be used. And when the user clicks on that, you have one pop-up like this, explicitly talking about what we are going to do. So we're explicitly telling the user that by accepting this, you agree to have your picture used for face recognition. Okay. Next, how we organize the content in Sitecore. So in Sitecore, we have pages, which you see in the left column, and as well as marketing profiles. We're mapping one-to-one. As you can see, we have genre like anthology, biography, drama, history. Those are book genre. And inside the genre, we have the books itself. Those are the pages, right? As a user, so we link the genre page with their respective profile card. As you can see in the marketing profile, we have profile cards for each genre, and we link them with the respective profile card. And as a user visit a genre page, a book underneath the genre, or even a book underneath that genre, he will get points for that respective genre. So if the user visits Black Enough, which is one book on screen, he will get points for anthology. As the user visits more anthology books, the system will understand that he prefers anthology as a genre. And it is possible to track down. I will click here. As you guys can see, this is experience profile. It is possible to track down your known contact in experience profile, and already you can check that they have their preferences displayed as patterns. So for instance, Roberto has a preference for anthology, then biography, then poetry. So next, once that page is accessed by one user, you have the recommendations displayed according to the genre that this user likes more. Okay, talking about the personalization rules, how that works. As you guys can see, nothing special here. We have 3 instances of these component genre books continuous. The purpose here is that I want to find the top 1, top 2, and top 3, okay, genres. By taking the top 1, 2, and 3 from a user, I can display the books from that genre. As you guys can see, I am creating personalization with rules, as everyone is used to do in Sitecore. So as you can see, I have here this rule called where the value of poetry profile key in the interaction profile is best 3. Okay, and that means that that is the top 3, like the third most important genre for that user. And I am just using that rule over and over for each of the genres. So accordingly to the personalization and the user logged in, Sitecore will show one or the other genre and list the books on it. Here I'm showing the rule being open and the custom condition that I created. So where the value of poetry profile key in the interaction is best 1, 2, or 3. You can select any best, like best 10, best 11, doesn't matter. All right. So next, I will talk a little bit about the smart bookshelf itself, the physical part. Okay. Visually, it is not much different than a normal bookshelf, except that it has a screen and a webcam attached to make the magic happen. So books are arranged around their genre. So each division will have, I'm sorry, books are organized by genre around the screen, and each division will have books from that genre, of course. As you can see, sci-fi, drama, fantasy, and there are LED strips that are signalizing each of these genre. So the idea here is that not only we're seeing books on screen, but also we're seeing lights showing up what are the genres. All right, next, you see a demonstration on screen on how a screen face recognition process works. So the system will stay in a loop searching for a permitted face. If no faces are found, or if the user choice is not to be recognized, then it stays in the loop, And once a face is recognized, then the thing starts. After that, we're gonna send the image to a cloud API, which is responsible for understanding if that face belongs to someone we know. Okay, here we have two differences. Okay, we have one face API at the cloud that I cannot simply start calling anytime I want, because it consumes data and time, and sometimes licenses will vary according to your usage. So first I need to check with a local API to see if that object on screen is actually a face. Once I know it's a face, I will send a picture to the cloud API, and if the user is a known user, it will give me a face ID. Okay, the face ID is kind of identifier to that face that can be used as a login, just like a login. So after that, once we know that the user is a user that gave permission and is a user that we can identify as someone we know, we are going to send his information, his face ID, and identify the user in our application, showing data for that user in two ways. In the browser, so I need to click here. So you can have the books on screen, and to a JSS call that we are calling JSS2, just to get the LED that must be lighting up. Okay, so in this example we have sci-fi, dystopia, and musical. So the information to the LED port that needs to be turned on comes from JS, while the books you see on screen comes from a browser, a normal browser. Cool. After that, I would like to give you this detection loop. Okay, is like a fluxogram showing how we do it's actually activity diagram, how we do the face detection. So I would like to call your attention to this first square here. It's the face detection loop. So first we will inquire a local API. As I usually previously mentioned, the local API is less expensive. and can be called anytime I want, can be called every 100 milliseconds. So it really doesn't depend of something external. But the problem it is very weak in terms of it can only tell me it's a face, nothing else. And that's the first loop. So when we have we're drawing at that time we're drawing a yellow square around the face, and when the face stabilizes, we go to the second loop, which is calling the web API. When we call the web API, here is the more strong API capable to know if that face belongs to a user and give me a face ID. Okay? When I get a face ID, then I can do whatever is to be done with those. I will get the face ID, I'll get the recommendations on screen in the Sitecore browser. I will blink the corresponding LEDs with GSS. Then I will wait X minutes and the experience will begin. So basically that's the detection loop. Let me talk a little bit about the hardware. Okay, so the hardware itself of the bookshelf, we have a Raspberry Pi, which is a credit card size PC, very cheap and widely available. And to program, we are running Windows IoT Core, which is a special version of Windows 10, only for IoT and without a lot of things. To implement the application, we use Universal Windows Platform, which is UWP, most commonly called, written in C#, and that's basically will be my client calling the Sitecore side. Attached to it, to the Raspberry, I have a monitor and a camera. And very important, we need cable network to access Sitecore. Why we need, someone will ask, Raspberry Pi comes with Wi-Fi, why we need cable network? Unfortunately, the current version of Windows IoT does not support communication throughout Wi-Fi, only cable. So yeah, that's a limitation of the tool for now. It's still in the beta version, so I guess they will improve that later. The Raspberry controls a relay module, which will be responsible to turn on and off each of the LED strips. And trust me, you need the relay module. I learned that the bad way by burning my first Raspberry Pi. Because the LED strips depends on 12 volts and Raspberry can only handle 5 volts. That is enough to burn a Raspberry Pi. So we're controlling a relay that can control actually high voltage. Of course, I'm not using high voltage, but it is saving as a shield. It's protecting the Raspberry Pi from high voltage or higher voltage. Cool. All right, guys. So next, I would like to bring you this video. It is actually a video showing how the bookshelf works in a real life, and later after that we'll bring the demo. Okay, so hold on a second.
Presenting the Smart Bookshelf for Sitecore. Companies have gold in their analytics data. Sitecore offers various ways to visualize and interact with your audience. Most interactions come from online channels. But what can be done to elevate your physical channels? The Smart Bookshelf is one example of a possible answer. Developed using face recognition to associate with your experience analytics contacts, you can bring the power of advanced personalization to your physical presence. Scanning occurs until a known face is detected. Once found, the person is identified within Sitecore. The Smart Bookshelf will display personalized recommendations. It's not just about what you see on the screen. The smart bookshelf uses LED strips on each of the bookshelves to identify the recommended genres. Rodrigo, lover of music and literature, just found out about this amazing online bookstore and is looking to add more books to his collection. As Rodrigo searches on the website, his actions are being captured in XDB, which will later be used for book recommendations. Rodrigo likes what he is looking at and decides to create an account. He goes to the registration page and fills out a form with his information and creates a username and password. After completing the registration, Sitecore now recognizes Rodrigo as a known contact. Now in the experience profile, Rodrigo's contact shows his preferred genres. Rodrigo then accesses the account page on the website and uploads his picture. Then he checks the checkbox for an improved experience in physical stores. This allows his picture to be utilized for face recognition. A warning is displayed to Rodrigo. We are making sure Rodrigo consciously complies for the use of his picture with face recognition. A week later, as Rodrigo is walking home from lunch, he sees a physical bookstore from the website he visited. He decides to stop in. Rodrigo notices the sign informing him that the store utilizes face recognition. Rodrigo, remembering that he uploaded his photo and gave consent, decides to go try it out. Rodrigo approaches the monitor on one of the smart bookshelves and his face is recognized. As Rodrigo is identified in Sitecore, the genres based on his online behavior are used to provide book recommendations and lights up the bookshelves of his preferred genres. Rodrigo, loving what he sees, grabs a book from each genre identified. Our friend Ileani is a bookworm, but her taste in literature are quite different than Rodrigo's. When she is recognized, her individual preferences are displayed on the screen and her favorite genre bookshelves are lit. Ileani gets a book from her favorite genre, drama. This is Roberto. Maybe because of Roberto's preference for dystopias, Roberto is not a fan about giving away his personal information. Roberto notices he can log into the website using facial recognition. Let's just say Roberto doesn't like the idea and has no problem outwardly expressing his feelings. Roberto goes to his account and clears the checkbox for using his picture for face recognition. When Roberto tries to use face recognition at the physical bookstore, he is not recognized and is ignored. Thanks for watching. Amo Sitecore sempre.
All right, guys. Thank you. Let me stop this.
Este ano.
All right. Thank you for your attention. So here is the link for the video. The same link for those who fail to see during this streaming. I'm sorry, but the link will be in the description of the YouTube video you're seeing right now. Okay. Cool. All right. So now I guess it is time for the very expected and very scary demo. I will stop to share my screen and we will start to share my webcam. Just a second. Okay. All right, guys. So the demo has started. I will show you something. Well, here what you see on my webcam is the portable version of the smart bookshelf. Once I cannot go and get inside a plane with a real bookshelf and books will be too heavy, I have created this. And this is just, representations of the genres, like I told you before. And what it has is the camera we spoke about, and it will start to track for a face. As it finds my face, I will cover Diego. As it finds my face, stabilize, it will go and bring my genre, my preferred genre. So I like anthology, biography, and horror. Yes, I need to pick a book. So let me pretend I'm picking a book. Okay, and like I said, the loop, detection loop is over. It shows the book for a while, and then it starts it over. For instance, Roberto, which you guys saw in the YouTube video, like I demonstrated, he was not allowing face recognition. So he is in the database, but the system is not showing anything because he marked the checkbox to not be recognized. But if I go to the Sitecore site, and let me just bring it here, and I will log in as Roberto. I'm switching back to my screen sharing. Okay, so I'm logging as Roberto. Qual era o tua senha mesmo? I forgot your password. It's B for the records. So now I will go to Roberto's account. As you guys can see, he has his face here, but I will give permission to use the picture and we'll save. After that, I will log out. We'll switch back to the screen sharing. The webcam. And we'll ask Roberto to go there again. And this time, now the system has Roberto's permission, so the system should show his preferences. There you go. Nice. That's the demo. I guess that's good enough. Nothing bad happened so far. So I will stop being bold, and actually I don't have any other use case to show. I wish I could have arrived in the place earlier so I could scan some of your guys' faces and you guys could participate in the demo, but not today. I'm sorry. Right. Okay. So I'm stopping my webcam and starting back my screen sharing. All right, hold on a second. I need to restart sharing. What about, okay, cool. We're back to the presentation. All right, and the demo went fine. I'm happy everybody survived. Future, what we can think about this tool and future, how we can evolve this technology. Right, so better bookshelf. How can we improve the bookshelf? Let me find my notes. hold on a second. So recommendation feedback. So what you guys saw in the demo and during the video, you guys saw a recommendation, but nothing happens after the recommendation is given. So how can we improve that? We could record the user's reaction to your recommendation and use that as a feedback to retrofeed the system and filter recommendations that the user dislikes, and give insist with recommendations that the user shows interest. Okay, heat maps. Let me bring it. Heat maps. So site heat maps can be done in a real life. So if you have a physical store and using this technology with several bookshelves, smart bookshelves on around the store, you can potentially see what areas of your store is not being well accessed and what parts are popular. So you can optimize your space. Maybe if you have one place that nobody goes, you must take actions to you can take actions like moving a shelf to another place, or easing people to get in, what we call heat maps. Okay, improve the interaction. Along with the online behavior, other facets could be used to improve the recommendation. For instance, people's gender in this case, people's age and sense of humor. So if I can detect if the person is happy, I can give something, a book that matches that sense of humor, or that how do you say that? Mood is a good description. We can give anonymous recommendation, which is something you need to take care, because some privacy regulations does not accept you to do anything with someone that is anonymous. But you can potentially do that when regulations permit. You can integrate with Sitecore Cortex, of course, which is the artificial intelligence framework for in Sitecore 9. And by the way, I'm already doing that for the symposium presentation. And stores, talking about stores, not bookstores, but talking in general about stores, what can be achieved with this technology? So you can give like special treatment to people. You can praise the people, greet the people by name, celebrate someone's birthday with discounts only by having that person physically stepping in the store. So with face recognition, you detect people's face, and the system will immediately give information about that face, such as the people name and birthday, if it's the date or not. Brick and click promotion. So brick and click is the expression to say something that is online and offline. So if you think on giving special discounts to a user that is in your website and steps in your store, such as, for instance, you can have special discounts for people that goes online and then goes to your physical store, give something special for them. Or you can promote draws or promotions where the user gets something back, but the user needs to go to your store. So that's a good way to force the user to go to your physical store to get the price. You can have personalized ads, like with the online behavior, the mood, the genre, and previous engagements. I can give special ads for the user. And that's it, guys. I would just like to bring some faces to thank Kitty and Dylan, who I love, of course, as much as Sitecore, and was suffering with my absence during the execution of this speak. Roberto, the guy who did the Raspberry app and was one of the stars of the video. Eliane, the girl who takes care of the public library desk, who allowed us and also is in the video. And Mark Cervez, who was dealing with the edition of the video and the narration. He did almost everything except the presentation itself. And Yuna, who was my mentor during the user group SUG-BR presentation preparation. So thanks for all these guys. And I would like to open to questions. Do we have questions in the audience?
Will you share the code? That's the question on the chat by Edipo.
Right. Yes, we are going to share the code for the Raspberry Pi application. That one will be open. The rest is proprietary, but we're going to share snapshots, snapshots, showing the specific things, how to do each of the key things. So you won't have access to the whole Sitecore application, but if you want, you can do exactly the same. And the Raspberry application is all yours, will be all yours in a moment or in a while. Anything else? What about here in the room?
What's the API that you guys use to actually do the face recognition?
Great. Remember I said there are two APIs. One that runs locally and it's very cheap. It can be called every 100 milliseconds. It's very stupid as well because it can only detect that the object in the camera is a face. That's Microsoft Cognizant, right? That runs locally. And then we have one web API called Kairos, which is very smart, can tell me if the person is the gender, the approximated age, the person ethnicity, the person mood, if the person has a negative, positive, or neutral mood by his face, and much more. For instance, the API gives me if the user has a mouth open or closed, if the user is dressing a glass or not. So you can use all these facets, all this information to do something in your application. In the future, I'm gonna use that in a symposium presentation to provide books that are positive to people that have positive mood, neutral to people who have neutral or negative. So all that will be part of the artificial intelligence, taking care of the recommendation in the future. For now, we are only using personalization. It is the demo you see, Edipo, is not using anything with Sitecore Commerce, but it's planned doable because as you saw in the presentation, we're not only using personalization with some custom rules and conditions that we created, and that can be easily integrated with a Sitecore Commerce, which will make a lot of sense. But this website you see, the one that we implemented, is just a normal Sitecore application, not something like it is not Sitecore Commerce. Cool. I'll give it. Well, we have 2 minutes extra. Let's see if any other questions. Yeah. Edipo, by the way, this card you see will, in the next presentation, will be used to power up the artificial intelligence, which I don't have yet in this presentation. But for things like, if the user buys a book, I don't want to show that book in the recommendation anymore because the user owns the book. If the user adds a book to the shopping cart, that means a lot. It means that the user is not only visiting the book, but also dragging the book to the shopping cart. If the user didn't buy that, it gives more information to the artificial intelligence to give that book as a recommendation.
I was thinking about that. So you can actually trigger marketing automation because of that. Because as you said in your example, if I understand correctly, when the user, adds, triggers a goal like saying add something to the shopping cart, that can trigger this kind of behavior, right? I mean, I assume.
Yes, yes, yes. Because we are just doing normal Sitecore triggering of an event, which is visiting a page because it has a profile card on it. Okay, and in the future, we're gonna use Cortex to schedule extra training, so the artificial intelligence will be always fed up with the user's behavior, and that will serve as a training for them with specific things like accessing a page is one, adding to shopping cart is a second. We'll have like a component to give thumbs up or thumbs down for books, which will also be used to train the API. I guess that's it, man. I am out of time. So anything? Sorry? Okay, yes, we're gonna take 2 minutes to set up Diego's presentation, and we'll be right back. Okay? See you guys in a second. Don't leave us. Edipo has a great comment here. You can also use touch screen on the book library to the user, so the user can interact with the recommendations, which is great. Great idea. Also, we are doing some experiments in-house at NicheTech, trying to see if we can use a sensor to see if the user is actually manipulating the objects, not with a touch screen, but with sensors that will react as the user touches each product in the display.